And we're live. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Kelly with the Antler Queens. I just showed the intro a little bit ago. I'm working on a new one. I don't know if this will even make it to our YouTube video, but just in case it does, I apologize for the outdated information. As I announced before, Emily and Melanie are no longer with the show, but I am bringing in some awesome co-hosts, including my guest today, Jade. Say hi, Jade. So glad to have you here.
Hi, Kelly.
Jade is awesome. She's one of our
I'm glad to be here.
Yes. And yeah, you're one of our patrons. And I keep saying our, even though it's like I'm a one-woman show right now, but it's, you know, it's still a community. So but yeah,
it's the collective.
Yes, exactly. But we all love you. Our little Antler Queens community loves you. So I'm glad to have you on. And
thank you for letting me be on.
Absolutely. I'm excited. As I had mentioned before, I'm going to be kind of bringing in some rotating co-hosts, and I'm hoping this won't be Jade's only appearance. Hopefully, you know, I could get her back again. But I'm going to be bringing on some really cool guests. And there's lots to look forward to between now and the premiere. And today we're going to be doing kind of an interesting two-parter. We're going to be talking about serial killer Robert Hansen, and if we think that they could be going that route with Cabin Daddy, because there are some hints to similarities. We're also going to be discussing the symbol a bit today, and our interpretations of that and where we think they could be going with that. But first, I wanted to talk about some Yellowjackets news. There has been some casting news, and Nicole Maines, Francois, is it Arnaud or Arnaud? Arnaud, I think it's pronounced. And Nia Sundaya.
I didn't know how to pronounce that either.
Yeah. And Nia Sundaya have been cast in recurring roles. Nia Sundaya is actually going to be playing Akila. Kia King has exited the show, so hopefully everything's okay with her. But Nia Sundaya has stepped in, and Nicole Maines is going to be on the show as well. She's been in Supergirl, and then Francois Arnaud is going to be playing Paul, Ben's boyfriend. And based on his age, it seems like he's going to be playing his boyfriend from pre-crash, not in today's timeline. So we're going to be getting some pre-crash flashbacks, which is kind of cool. So that's exciting. And actually, I forgot to bring up their photo, but these are the three actors. That's Nicole Maines, that's Francois, and Nia Sundaya. And the Showtime actually put out a brand new photo today of season 2 with Walter and Misty. So there they are, mirroring each other's poses, which is kind of interesting. But look at the background. There's the background is mighty interesting. There's, you know, is that the same wilderness area that they crashed in? You know, it could be. I mean, I think they're going back to that in the present day timeline, but very interesting stuff. And it's been a while since this came out, but we didn't cover it on the show. So there were photos released of Lauren Ambrose's van, which I'm really excited about. These came out a while back. Yay! And I know, I'm so excited. Really quick, I'm just going to bring up a comparison of the two actresses. So that's Lauren Ambrose was kind of one that a lot of people were hoping would end up playing her. I'm a huge Lauren Ambrose fan. Um, but we've got a few photos of her playing Van. So that's one of them, looking a little concerned, and I love this photo. Uh, you can see her scars. She, they're looking pretty healed, but you can still see them.
That's the first time that I've seen the pride flag in the back of that photo.
How did I not notice that?
That
oh my gosh,
I didn't notice it either.
Oh, how about that?
I love it.
Yeah,
this is the
thank
first
you for
time
pointing that out.
I
Cool.
didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's the first time I just saw it. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
no, I didn't notice that before either. How cool.
Sorry.
No, not at all. Well, yeah, that's super exciting. So, like I said, that news is pretty ancient. We've already talked about it on the show, but I hadn't had a chance to bring up the photos. And I apologize to anybody who's listening to this episode because, as you can already tell, it's going to be a very, very, very visual episode. So you're probably going to want to bring this up on YouTube. It's going to be worth it because we've got lots and lots of visuals for this one. So should we get started with a little Robert Hansen talk?
We can. We talked about it. I've done some notes. I am not a professional podcaster, like yourself. But I do have some notes and kind of things that could kind of tie him in on a loosely based premise, like the dead hunter guy, cabin daddy. They could have drawn some inspiration from this guy. Kind of briefly go through some of the notes. This is not a true crime podcast. I know this. So if I went into every detail, that's what it would be. But this is not one of those. So for a brief history, background, he was born in 1939. He died in 2014 while incarcerated. Quick note, he did get caught for what he did. For some of it. He was employed as a young child at his father's bakery in Pocahontas, Iowa. He had a severe stutter, severe acne, that left him very scarred. So he had issues with confidence, with girls, adolescent issues, you name it. This nursed fantasies of cruel revenge on women in particular. He enlisted in the United States Army in 1957, and he was discharged after a year. But then later was hired as an assistant drill instructor in a police academy. So, yeah, he's got some knowledge. So his first issue that he had is in 1960. He burned the Board of Education school bus garage as a way of revenge. He only served 20 months of that 3-year sentence. Yeah. During that time, he was diagnosed with manic depression and schizophrenic episodes.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you. I'm just going to bring
personality. No, you're.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm just going to bring up really quick just a picture.
That's him.
Robert Hansen, so you guys can get a visual. But okay, go ahead, Jade. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. His nickname was the Butcher Baker. He did work in a bakery, and that whole persona got him out of a lot of things. His timidness, the low self-esteem, all of that. Later on, he was jailed several times for petty theft. Moved to Anchorage, Alaska, and married kids. Like I said, this is just brief. He was arrested twice in 1971 for abducting and attempting sexual assault with an unidentified housewife and sexual assault of a sex worker. Have a plea bargain with that one. Um, he was sentenced to 5 years, but was released after 6 months on a work release and went to a halfway house. Um, so that's just kind of breakdown of his early part. Um, there's more. Not like I said, I'm not going to make this a true crime podcast. We got to get into what we know is could be.
I do want to
So
mention really
the
quick.
first one out in the wilderness. Mhm.
Oh, sorry. I think we're on a little bit of a delay. Sorry, guys.
What's that?
I do want to just mention really quick that there is a trigger warning for this episode.
Yeah.
So just we're going to be talking about some things that might make you uncomfortable. So just be aware of that. So okay, sorry, Jade, go ahead.
I should have said that beforehand. I'm sorry. I should have said
Oh,
that
no, it's okay.
beforehand. We already talked about it. So, um, sorry. Let me find my notes. Okay. So, guy's MO was to fly sex workers, women out to secluded areas and hunt them as if they were wild game. After he had already tortured them or bound them or something like that. So, what they believed to be his first issue in the wilderness, there was a girl named Beth Van Zarden. I don't know her name. I don't know how to pronounce. She was kidnapped in December of 71. She froze to death in the wilderness. There's another correlation.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, her body was discovered 3 days after he assaulted another sex worker and 4 days before turned him in for attempted assault.
Mm.
So if I can find, so he actually told this girl that he intended to take her to his cabin, accessible only by boat or bush plane. So there you go. Now
Big
she
comparison
did
there.
end up escaping while he was loading the cockpit. Right. Yeah. So, but before he did that, the way that they met, just to backtrack, and then we'll get into just over this back part or backstory. In 1983, he offered this girl $200 for oral sex. When she got in the car, he held her at gunpoint, drove her to his home in Muldoon, uh, held her captive, tortured her. She told police that he chained her by the neck to a post in his basement, then took a nap on a nearby. Then the next morning took her to Merrill Airfield and told her he intended to take her to his cabin. Now she flagged down a driver. Pretty much got help at a nearby inn, called police. At that point, the Alaskan, was it? It was Anchorage. Sorry, Anchorage Police Department got involved. He denied it, saying that he didn't. It was just revenge because he didn't give in to her extortion demands. From then on, it was a slippery slope, and he ended up getting caught. His alibis didn't check out anymore. So, also with his, and I think that I shared that screenshot. I don't know if you have it or not. Um, they did find when they were investigating him, they did
Yes.
find behind his, yes. So if we want to go loosely on symbol, because we're tying this all together, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did find all of his flight maps or flight locations. And he had them marked with X's behind his headboard of his bed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the things that I did not know going into this. I was like, hmm. Now, obviously, that's not in the shape of the symbol, but again, we're going off of loosely based information. So,
Right.
yeah. So, I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to speculate on that either.
Well, it's one thing that kind of I watched a couple of documentaries on this guy,
The
and
X's behind the headboard was
oh, did we lose you? Oh no. Oh no, you froze up. Sorry, everyone. Um, it looks like Jade is
oh,
freezing up here a little bit,
oop,
but oh, are you back?
sorry.
Oh, okay, she's back. All right, sorry. You were saying the X is behind the headboard.
I'm back. Okay, sorry. There was a lag. Sorry. I think I hit my mic and it, yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm
Gotcha.
back.
All right, cool. So yeah, you were about to say the X is behind the headboard.
Yes,
Um,
the X's behind the headboard was a big thing for me that they figured out that he pretty much mapped it out on a wall of where
yeah,
he took all of these women. So,
yeah. And it's so funny. I'm looking at the map right now on the that we're showing on the screen, and it's so funny because we're
what
we're
you
still on
see
Robert
right now
Hansen,
looks
but it's like
similar, but
I'm trying so hard to like map out the shape of the symbol
yep.
on the map. It's kind of funny. Like I'm
Yeah,
trying to
and
see
I'm not
where.
saying that it couldn't, like, if we flipped it, like, do we flip it? Do we,
Yeah, I
transverse
mean,
it? Like,
yeah,
I
I
don't know
mean,
that
it's
Showtime's gonna go that in depth, but
right. Right. Yeah. But yeah, who
it
knows? I mean,
it
Showtime now,
definitely, we talked about talking about this guy.
one thing that really stuck out to me from the documentaries that I watched on him is he collected like mementos from the girls. And
He did. I didn't mention souvenirs. He did have souvenirs. Yes.
yeah. And yeah, which kind of, it kind of makes me think a little bit about, the gold heart necklace. Um, that's there's like a whole thing going on with that in the show, but
I
it's
thought the
like
exact same thing. I thought the exact
yeah,
same thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's yeah, and like
Yep.
another thing we talked about before on the show is they're wearing each other's clothes. Well, they could be sharing it, but what if they are taking things from dead girls? Like we speculated on here before that Mari could end up being Pit Girl, and Misty was wearing her windbreaker in that
Right.
opening scene in the pilot.
Right.
Um, so yeah, there's all kinds of thoughts we have on that.
I
But
mean, you can speculate all day long on all of it, but
yeah, yeah, for sure.
but that
Also,
map, I was like, "What?"
yeah, yeah, there's also a very strong theory that whoever this guy was, whoever Cabin Daddy was, had might have had a problem with women because he there was a scene where Travis was playing cards and Natalie comes down and she sees him playing solitaire or whatever, and she's like, there's no queens in that deck. So, a
Hmm.
lot of people are thinking that that could be
Hmm.
like he had some kind of
I don't think I
supernatural issue.
recognized that before.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So he took the yeah, either he took the queens out of his card deck or there just were no queens to begin with. Who knows? But
Hmm.
if they did go the
Well,
Robert Hansen
Robert
route,
Hansen obviously had issues with women.
well, yeah. Yeah, that's clear.
I mean,
I mean, it's if they
he had
do go
issues
the Robert
from
Hansen route,
adolescence.
yeah. I mean, Showtime did if anybody watched Dexter New Blood out there, um, it was just a one season show, but the main adversary in that show, the antagonist, was based on Robert Hansen. Um, he did the same thing, like, he hunted, um, he would kidnap girls and bring them back, and he would hunt them. Um, and so it wouldn't be the first time that Showtime has based something on this character. So who knows? It's very possible. But like, the thing about having I mean the whole fly-in cabin is a pretty big similarity to begin with, just that alone.
Right. Like you can only get, I mean, I'm not going to say that you can get to it by boat because what we see is only a lake, but
Yeah.
we don't know the extent of the lake if it's, you know, a bay, if it's actually just a lake. We don't see how massive that area of water is, but
Yeah.
they do add in the bush plane.
Yeah.
So, and all
Pretty
the
interesting.
while, I'm not saying that this is all not related to the cult either,
Yeah. That's possible. It's
with
definitely a possibility.
the symbol, everything else. So, I'm not saying Robert Hansen was a part of a cult, but I'm saying, dude, they might have, we don't know,
Yeah.
loosely based dead hunter guy, Daddy, off of, could definitely have been part of that cult because I have no doubt that cult existed long before those girls were out there. And yeah. And Robert Hansen, he was active all through the early, late 70s, early 80s. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? I'm definitely interested in finding out when that just how long that cabin's been there, when it got there, if he built it, if it was
Been there
somebody
a
else.
while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
this
I
is
think so.
another thing going back on the history of the cabin. They open those canned goods, right?
Mhm.
And they're rotten.
Yeah.
I think most people know that a best buy date is not an expiration date on canned goods. It just means
Right.
they're not going to taste the same. Doesn't mean they're going to rot that as soon as that date is passed.
Mhm.
The fact that they open them and they are rancid, that makes me think that it was like the canning, not canning. I'm from the South. Canning is a thing, but I guess it would be the canning process would have been from several decades back, or at least
Yeah.
a few decades, where they didn't have the same type of ways to preserve whatever it was they were putting in these cans. So to me, that tells how long that cabin has been too.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have found it, you know?
It's just a
It's very
theory.
possible. Yeah.
Right. Right. I don't think he
Um,
built it. No, I think it was already
no.
there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think Hunter guy did. And who's to say that the guy upstairs that they find is even Cabin Daddy? Dead Hunter guy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, who knows? I mean, he could be a victim of Cabin Daddy for all we know, you know.
Yeah, he might have been stuck up there and found a rifle and said, yeah. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, and I mean
Mhm.
for basically we're referring to Cabin Daddy as the guy who was in the finale episode um
That's what I'm saying. Dead
injecting.
Hunter guy / Cabin
Yeah.
Daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
What's his name? William. Uh, what's the actor's name? I just went blank. We did the
Will Vaughn.
panel with him.
Yeah, Will Vaughn.
Will
Yeah, he was
Will Vaughn. Yeah, Will Charles Vaughn. Yeah, I think his stuff on IMDb is like
William
Charles.
Charles Vaughn
Yeah,
on
Will Vaughn. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, we had a little Patreon party with him. He was a lot of fun. He was very cool. He was we're
Yeah,
very
he's
grateful
great.
that he joined us for that.
A lot of info. He gave info
Yeah.
without anybody even asking. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. He was really cool. He also has a really interesting he also has a wrestling podcast for the if for anybody who is into
Yeah.
wrestling, and I am totally
Excuse me.
drawing a blank on the name of this, and I'm so sorry.
It was
I'm gonna
Smack
actually
Talk, right? Smack Talk?
it's oh god, Smack I think it's Smack Addict.
Smack Addict.
I
That's
think
it.
it's
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. That's right. It
yeah,
was.
yeah,
Yep.
it's Smack Addict
I'm gonna
podcast.
hang on.
It's yeah, it's a wrestling podcast. So definitely check it out. He's a really good podcaster actually. He's surprisingly good.
Oh, he's got the
He's got a great voice for
perfect
it.
voice.
Oh, he does, totally. But yeah, so
Yeah, it's Smack
I
Addict because he was talking about Brett the Hitman Heart,
yes.
you know, whenever
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, that's it. I just found it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So did you have anything else to add about Robert Hansen, or should we maybe go into the symbol talk a little
Well,
bit?
I was just trying to tie him into the symbol because I do
Okay.
feel like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, not Robert Hansen, but it's more about, you know, Dead Hunter guy, Cabin Daddy. Um, but we don't put those symbols in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if he put the. I doubt he put those symbols on the side.
Okay.
But I do feel like he has something to do with those symbols. Like I said, it's just
Yeah.
weird about the X marks with the flight plans and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we can go into symbol things if you want to, because we both have the so
Yeah, we've got a lot of thoughts on this. And I I went a little crazy.
and there's a lot of visuals on this one. No,
I went down some
no,
rabbit
no,
holes, guys.
no. I doubt it.
I like there is a dictionary
Here's
out
the
there.
symbol. Here's the symbol.
And yeah, it's so there's the symbol we all know and love.
It's
I
good.
apologize. I should have put a
Good.
background on it. But um but there's a dictionary. Here's a better picture with the
It's
with the
fine.
background. But there is a dictionary out there called I think it's the Gettings Dictionary of alchemic and hermetic symbolism.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's over 400
And
pages.
yes.
And I read the whole damn thing. I was obsessed.
I have not when I had you send it to me, I was like, there's no all of this. Not in the time that I have.
Looking.
But it's interesting. No, I mean it's amazing though.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. There is I mean, I didn't read it. I kind of like did a speed reading of it. Um, but I'm actually going to go back, and I actually do plan to go back and read at least parts of it in full, because there are some really interesting things about how to interpret certain parts of these symbols. Um, and Jade, you had
Any kind of line, it seemed like, meant
yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. Now, here's a photo of just of these. This is the symbol carved into the
Mhm.
floor. It's upside down here, but um that's the symbol carved into the floor. Now, what's interesting is the mark around it. Um, I it looks like I mean, I don't know what it looks like to you, Jade, but it could be from wax. It could be, but it almost looks like it's the wood is carved out from around it or something. Does it kind of look like that to you? It's
I You just cut out a little bit.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Um yeah,
I see the image, but, you just cut out just a little bit. What did you ask? Now I can hear you.
yeah. Now, does it look like almost like he may have cut into the floor around the symbol? Or I guess that could be wax. But
Yes. It looks like there is a, or as I was gonna say, that could be a burn, like
yeah.
but wax doesn't looks like it's actually out of the wood. That doesn't look like it's like a it looks concave, not convex. So,
Yeah.
that looks like that's gouged out of the wood.
Gotcha. Um let me
To
let
me,
me
it does.
bring
I don't know what your theories are on that, but
yeah,
oh,
no,
girl, this
it
I
does
love
look
it.
a little concave. Um now another thing that I find really interesting is it also looks a hell of a lot like this little tool here,
Oh,
which
wow.
yeah, which is
Yep.
basically it is
Is
an
a
I
sexton.
yeah, sextant. I knew it began with an S. I drew a blank. Um, and it basically is
It's for it's nautical. Yeah.
yeah, it's for finding like the distance from the horizon, and um it's a navigational
Mhm.
tool. And so that's definitely kind of interesting. It looks a hell of a
Wow.
lot like it.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Um Now some other I'm just kind of bringing up some different things
Oh,
that it
I never
looks
had
like.
God.
Yeah. Um, Now here's something else that it kind of resembles.
Mhm.
This is the symbol of Tanit, uh, which is an old Phoenician
Huh.
symbol. Um, there's not it seems to be more associated
Mhm.
with uh with Africa, so I don't know that it could have any relevance um to anything going on in Yellowjackets. I think it's just kind of a coincidence that it looks like
With
that.
North America, but it was
But just to read a little bit about Tanit. Tanit, the celestial queen, is the goddess of stargazers and astrologers, a goddess of fertility and abundance. Tanit was the supreme spirit of Carthage, the North African Phoenician nation now most renowned for its hero Hannibal. Tanit's almost 1,000-year reign lasted from the 9th century BCE through the Roman conquest, only finally eradicated by Islam, although rumors of surviving vestiges of her worship among Berber mountain tribes periodically surface. Tanit was an international goddess. Her veneration spread to Phoenician colonies in what are now known as Malta, Sardinia, and Spain. Um, Septimus Severus the first Roman emperor born in North Africa, introduced the worship of Tanit to Rome. So there's definitely some, it expands beyond North Africa for sure. There's a debate as to whether Tanit is a Phoenician importation or an indigenous Berber. It's possible that she's both. Tanit may be an Amazigh goddess who, I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, who was identified as Astarte by the Phoenicians. Tanit may also be another name for Neith or Neith, Neith. There is Tanit may hide behind the mask of Spain's Black Madonna. Favored people are astrologers, stargazers, Berbers, or those with ties to North Africa. So that's a little information on that. I didn't really think that had much, like just a little bit that I read about Tanit. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot that was interesting in relation to the show. But it's wrong picture, but it's certainly interesting. Now, and we'll get into these theories in depth here a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of bring up a few things here. This was very interesting. A Reddit user in trying to figure out what the symbol meant, went into the r/maps subreddit and posted the symbol, a photo of the symbol, and asked what could these map symbols mean. And somebody responded in the maps subforum. It says, "This clearly is a place where a pirate ship was sunk. It was used by the Royal Navy to help figure out where pirates accumulated. In modern times, it is occasionally used by eccentric individuals to try and find pirate gold. So far, no one that we know of has been successful." So that's really interesting that somebody saw this and was like, "Oh yeah, that definitely looks familiar."
Knew exactly what it was. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
It's
and
cult,
who knows?
stuff coming in. I'm telling.
Yeah. By the way, I apologize. The user who was clever enough to post this in the maps subreddit was systems processing. So thank you for getting the idea to post that in there. And Easy the Epic was the one who responded.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I couldn't find anything. Like I tried all kinds of Google terms trying to find something, like symbols indicating pirate treasure, or I couldn't come up with any kind of symbols. But I don't know that I'm necessarily searching for the correct terms. There could be a lot of differences. I mean, it could just be his interpretation based on other stuff that he knows. Who knows? There's we don't know. But I will definitely update this if I find any information that kind of goes along that supports his post. I will surely I'll put an update in the video description of this episode for sure. Now we were both
that's great.
Yeah. Now,
yep.
There's been a lot of talk about the symbol possibly being hobo code, which I'm really not on board with. I'm not ruling anything out.
Some parts sense, but you and I had the same idea from the beginning.
Yeah. So basically, a Reddit user by the name of Winter Yak 9031 said that I think they were the first person who brought up the hobo code theory on Reddit. If you don't know what hobo code is, it's a way that transient individuals could communicate with each other and leave messages useful messages via symbols, carved into trees and etc., or graffiti. But Winter Yak explained that symbol could include the following messages: nothing to be gained here, man with a gun lives here, a beating awaits you here, halt, alcohol here, doubtful, dog lives here, and get out fast.
The
My
alcohol and the dog lives here, I'd say we're not, but the other
yeah,
ones could be,
but
halt
my
and then get out. Yeah, but
I don't I don't buy the hobo code, because who is this guy leaving? Who would they be leaving messages for?
I
You know
don't
what I
buy
mean?
it either because he has no reason to leave symbols for somebody in
Yeah.
the Canadian Rocky wilderness.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, it doesn't make a whole
So,
lot of
yeah.
sense. Um,
But
and it's, with it being so inaccessible too, it's like if he's there, he's either stranded there, he's not passing through. You know what I mean? So it's
or he wants to be there for his own reasons. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like there's just I don't know. I can't get on board with the hobo code thing. No, disrespect to anybody who subscribes to that theory. It's just I just have a hard
No.
time
I
embracing
mean,
that one.
there's still like a lot of parts of it that make sense, but then
Mhm.
there's some parts that don't make sense.
Yeah.
From
But
the
we
beginning,
both
you and
we
I
both
both said, yeah,
alchemy. Yeah, we
yep,
both kind of are thinking are going with the
alchemy
alchemy
symbols,
route.
baby.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what makes a lot of sense to me. Um Now I am going to bring up a couple of things here. Um,
I said it
this is
just based off of with the hook with the cross through it.
yeah. The hook is really interesting because that could
I'm
be
telling you, when I saw that, I was like, no, this is not hobo code. This is alchemy.
yeah.
Nope.
It's very close to
Mm-mm.
the symbol of Saturn. Um,
Mm-hmm. And if people follow astrology or alchemy or know anything about any of that, Saturn is a big deal.
yeah.
If
And
you're
here
in
is
that type of cultic type state,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and there is a there's a very famous painting by the artist Goya, of Saturn
Mm-hmm.
eating his children.
Yep.
And it is I'm showing it to all of our viewers right now. It's a lovely, lovely, gruesome piece of artwork. Um, yeah, it's there's a lot of interesting thing. There's a lot of interesting symbolism with Saturn. Um, and I believe that there
Saturn
is
is good and bad in certain
yeah.
ways. Like Saturn, like people talk about their Saturn returns, right?
Mhm.
Your Saturn returns are normally times of your life where you have to make a big change. And if you don't, you will repeat that same thing over again until your next Saturn returns. And Saturn returns are only like every 30 something years. If I'm right, I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Um, well, the other thing that's kind of interesting is that in astrology, um, Saturn rules Capricorn. And
Yes.
what's interesting about that to me is Capricorn is the goat. Um, and there is
Mm-hmm.
I did some research on there was the cult of Dionysus, which was the Manads. There,
I have that
I
note written down.
yeah, I urge you to do some research
I
on,
have it.
yeah, it the cult of Dionysus or Maenads or Bacchanalia.
Mayonnaise.
Um,
Yeah, I have that too. Yeah.
yeah, if anybody out there watched True Blood, there was a group. God, it's been so long since I've seen it. I forget the woman's name who led it now, but it was basically the group that that Tara fell into, where she met Eggs, her boyfriend, and
I didn't do
they
True
were
Blood.
basically
I'm
Maenads.
sorry.
Yeah, I know you're not
Got it. Got it.
you're not totally familiar, but
I know. I
um,
mean, I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like, I just never did it. But yeah, I know what you're talking about though, because
yeah,
I researched it.
Marianne Forrester actually was the character in True Blood was who was a Maenad and led the Maenads. But there's a lot of, I mean, basically, if you learn about the Maenads, Doom Coming, and go back and watch the Doom Coming episode, it looks like a big Maenad festival.
It does. Absolutely. You are absolutely correct. Yep. It,
And
it does.
where the Saturn slash Capricorn slash goat tie-in comes is that there were male there were males that they associated with that were referred to. The women were Maenads and the men were satyrs. Um,
Okay.
so that there's this whole, it's the whole goat thing, and um, it's although
And we
I think a
also know
satyr is
that
a horse.
goats are going to be involved next season.
Yes, we do. So that's definitely interesting. For
I
sure.
mean, not to say that that means anything with this, but I don't know.
So tell me a little bit about your thoughts on alchemy.
Okay. So, again, that symbol, got to look at my notes again. um, Here's my thing. I do
Okay.
believe they're alchemy symbol, but also the triangle within the symbol, right?
Mhm.
This is going to tie in with it. It is the symbol for fire,
Okay.
or
For
could be a
fire, yeah.
symbol for fire.
Yes.
Um, is that the reason why Laura Lee, when she took off, pretty much, I mean, it was pretty much random combustion, is what
Hmm.
she died from. Um, could there be an issue where that trying kind of like a quote unquote Bermuda Triangle, whereas electromagnetic forces don't want you to leave? Like, I don't know. Could it be paranormal in that way and not so much as paranormal with the cult? Does that
Yeah,
make
I see what
sense?
you're saying. Um, well,
I
that's
feel like
the like
anything is possible at this point.
I do too. And what's interesting is, I mean, alchemy can definitely come into play there because there is something
I'm
called,
telling you, that triangle has something to do with it.
yeah.
In my
Um,
mind, I'm sorry.
well, the other thing is alchemy was all about transmutation, um, which on a surface level,
Oh yeah,
um, it's basically changing one matter into another. Specifically, alchemists were
right.
specifically focused on turning lead into gold. but the spiritual
Right.
meaning behind it.
Or
The
tin. They did tin into gold too, didn't they? Was it
I think
lead and
so, yeah.
tin?
It's basically
I
like
think they did
one
tin too.
type of matter into another.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a spiritual element to it. There's spiritual meaning behind it, and that's transmutation of the body. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
just to read a little bit about that, the aim of spiritual alchemy to restore a human being to the fundamental condition of grace, strength, perfection, beauty, and physical immortality. Dedicated alchemists over the ages labored to discover the secret of the elixir of life, which occultists believe would achieve this renewal of youth and grant immortality. Endless recipes for this medicine have been given, and some alchemists honestly believed that they had attained it, but it still has not been proven. Um, Now, transmutation was
Mm,
the main symbol involved in transmutation was circles. Um, there was something
absolutely.
called the area of effect, and what that
Yeah.
is I'm going to bring up
And I will
a
say, I
photo.
told you that honorary antler queen, I'm going to give her a shout out, Courtney,
Courtney,
said
yes, hi
she thought
Courtney.
the symbol meant something to do with the moon.
Yeah,
And yes.
yeah.
So just brought it in, girl.
So this is actually what I'm showing here is it's kind of a transmutation circle involving the moon cycles and the
Mm-hmm.
place of integration. Um, I kind of brought this up as an example, but there's definitely some. I thought it was interesting because it kind of shows the the moon, like the moon cycles and what that means.
The
Um,
transition. Yeah.
yeah, and when I was looking at this, one thing that I remembered was that the symbol when we typically see it is pointing um, from it's like north, it's like upper left to downwards right, and in the upper left of this chart, you've got Samhain, and then that's basically
Mm.
around the time that they had their whole June coming thing, because it was around homecoming
This was
and
what I was going to ask. Is the moon cycle going to be a part of how long they were out? Okay, you're already answering my question. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
um,
You're straight up
yeah,
answering my question.
and then the uh, directly across from there on the lower right is May 1st, and
Mhm.
May is approximately the time when they crashed.
Mhm.
Um, so that's kind of interesting. But basically, this chart that I'm looking at here has the place of integration in the middle, and that's kind of the same as the area of effect. And what that is, here's another picture. Um, just to kind of give an example of how the area of effect. This one is the object that they are affecting is represented by an arrow, and the image that I'm using right now is a circle with an arrow kind of going through it, like a sideways V kind of going through it, pointing to the right. Um, and the description reads, "This kind of circle base will force the reaction in the direction of the arrow, and I believe it can be used in combination with other bases to change the effect while still directing the action." So if we looked at the symbol as a
Mhm.
as an area of effect slash alchemy kind of thing, you've got the triangle is slightly intersecting, which
Did you do this?
this is actually just another another image that I pulled up from Reddit from Ball Boy.
Okay. Oh, I mean, I haven't seen this. This is great. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He is suggesting basically what the different lines could represent.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking from a
No, it's great.
yeah. And I'll go over that in a moment, but the speaking from as far as transmutation goes, if I remember correctly, I believe that something like this would mean that the area of effect would be mostly outside of the circle. Which means that it would be affecting something away from them. So it could be a protection thing, but this person was basically kind of doing an analysis of what the lines could represent. He was indicating that the circle could represent the sun or the earth. The I would think it would represent the moon because circles are a feminine shape.
Mm-hmm.
And triangles are male.
Masculine normally,
The
yes. And
Yeah,
alchemy normally, yes.
yeah, speaking purely from an alchemic standpoint. But he was also saying the triangle could represent Uranus, the points between the Earth, Sun, and Moon. He also suggested that the hook could also be Lilith. So that's kind of interesting.
Right.
That's, speaking, so that's kind of the astrology angle. Or the astronomy angle, not astrology. But that kind of goes along with, you had some thoughts on the moon cycles as well, right?
Well, not myself, but my friend Courtney had said something about the moon, that she thought that maybe the symbol had to do with the moon cycles, and I don't know, that the cult was something to do with the moon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Get her on that, but I told her I'd actually mention it. So
Yeah, I mean, they were howling at the moon.
I
I'm just
mean,
bringing it up.
it's not it's not a crazy theory at all.
No, I
No.
think it's extremely likely. I think it's
Look,
actually probably more
the
likely
whole
than anything.
episode Doom Coming, the
Mhm.
whole episode Doom Coming could be like, it could be diagnosed as a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like cult, ritualistic, mental illness, like it could be all of it. So yeah.
Shrooms. There were
Again, drug
yeah,
substance abuse, drug
yes,
abuse.
they consumed a lot of shrooms.
So, but I'm
Um,
not going to say that that's a bad thing, because, places
yeah,
are using those for mental health, you know, breaking through
yeah,
with
definitely.
mental health issues. So, I can't knock that, but no, they weren't using them for that reason.
Yeah. Um, oop, I just brought up the wrong thing there. Um, yeah, I think that and in the Doom Coming episode, I think everybody had consumed the mushrooms other than Jackie, right?
I think so. I think it was everybody but Jackie. Yes.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, she was like, yeah.
yeah, and
I don't think anybody else didn't.
no, I think everybody consumed.
Javi did, didn't he?
Mhm. Yeah. So Javi Javi and Misty
I
and
remember
Natalie
Shauna
Lee.
saying that to him. I couldn't remember if Javi ate
Yeah, he
that though.
did. He consumed them. He was but he
Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah. He and I mean basically the only ones that didn't kind of go completely batshit and start
Was
acting
Ben
like they were
and Natalie.
possessed were Travis, Natalie, Javi,
Ben.
Jackie, and Misty. Um,
Well, Ben
Misty was
didn't.
kind of what's up?
Did Ben? Ben just came
Oh
out
yeah,
to the
Ben.
whole
No, no, yeah, Ben
forest.
and Ben. Yeah, yeah. No, Ben did
He
not
just
go.
said, I'm gay
Yeah. Yes, he
to
did
all
not go
my
batshit.
furry creatures.
Yes, he came out to the wilderness very loudly. He did not go batshit like
Right.
the others.
It's so great.
That was one of the best coming out moments ever.
Mom, all my furry friends.
That was
I wish my
yeah, that
coming
was
out would have been that way. Not without a leg and, in the wilderness, but like being able to just be like, yeah.
Yeah, you probably weren't on shrooms either, huh?
No. No, not at all.
That was a great scene. Um,
Oh, it was so good.
but, yeah, it's the, there there are so many interesting like, you can go down so many rabbit holes while researching alchemy. It's kinda crazy. It's
But they
I became
all
obsessive.
make more sense with this symbol. They all make sense.
Yeah, and,
Or it makes more sense that this symbol would be based off of those, is what I
mhm,
mean.
yeah. Um, it's I also think that moon
If
cycles
it's
could
from a
be
cult, if it's from a
yes.
cult, they could be basing things off of a moon cycle too, like you just said.
Yeah, absolutely.
And straight up, they could be alchemy. Like, I
You
don't
know,
know. I'm telling you,
they
I don't know any other theory that makes sense other than that it's alchemy
well,
with a cult.
there's there's another thing that I had, while I was doing research. Um, something that kinda popped in my mind, and, this is just kinda something that I thought about on my own. Because I was thinking that it could be some type of map as well. And
Yep.
there's a theory that
Yep.
there's a there's a theory that Javi could be hiding in some type of underground shelter. Um, there is an underground area that Lottie had in the one vision that she had. Um, and there are
Yep.
um, there are supposedly mines in that area, underground mines, and there are rumors of hidden gold as well. Um, now there are if you look I brought up some photos of the
Alchemy
interior
again.
of
Alchemy
a couple of
again.
mines. Well, this is more like if you look at the shape of the interior of the
Yeah.
mine, it's shaped
Mhm.
very much like the symbol. Um, there is a circle and the tracks kind of intersect right about the point
They do.
um, where they do in the symbol. And here's another image of the interior of a mine. And I brought up another one as well. So that's kind of an interesting theory. Like if it was like a map um, of a mine, the lines could represent certain areas that he was marking off. He or whoever left those symbols. So that's
You're right.
and if he could have been a looking for gold. I mean, that could be why
Yeah, I
he had a
mean,
flying cabin.
it didn't necessarily mean that they were like out there doing crazy things. It could have just been, oh, I want prosperity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but that's also part of alchemy too.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry, I can't get past the alchemy part of it. I
No,
can't.
there is a lot of there's alchemy symbolism in
With
a lot of
being
architecture.
cultic,
Yeah.
with it being, they've already laid the baseline with cult
Mm-hmm.
activity. Um, they did that with the last episode when the cult came and took Nat.
Yeah.
That it still exists.
Yeah. I mean,
It
I know.
definitely. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. No, I was just gonna say that there is. I didn't do I didn't do much research into the Freemasons, but I don't know a lot about
Don't
the
do it.
Freemasons.
Don't do it.
But there's
Don't do it.
don't do it. But I know, like,
I've done
I
it.
know
You're
that
gonna
they're
go down. You're gonna go down a rabbit hole. You don't. No, just don't do it.
well, there's some tie to spiritual alchemy with the Freemasons too.
Oh, I know that. But just
And
there's a reason why our country's capital is laid out the way that it is.
yeah.
It's all Masonic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I
So
mean, there's lots of
it's all symbolism. But I'm
there's
telling
lots
you,
of
if you go
Masonic
down that
symbols
black hole,
in
I did it.
architecture.
I did it a couple years ago, and I was like, I can't.
You spend too long on
It gets
this. You
dark.
definitely
No, it gets dark. It gets
yeah.
dark.
It's I mean, I kind of felt after a couple hours, I felt like I needed to have a tinfoil hat on. Like
Well, that's how you feel with alchemy. Like when you start researching alchemy and like any kind of anything of the occult and stuff like that, you're like, I gotta back away because
yeah.
I'm gonna keep diving into this and I can't. No,
Yeah.
we gotta
For
stop.
sure. For sure. Um
Um,
but there's a lot of have you heard any other theories as to what kinds of explanations could be behind the symbol other
um,
than what we mentioned?
only what our friend Courtney had said about the triangle,
Oh,
like
right.
like the Bermuda Triangle, like there's something sacred about that area where you get in but you can't go out.
Yeah.
Um Also something about how the symbolism has to do with the breaking off of the two groups
Okay.
that everybody has predicted. Um,
Yeah.
that one's gonna take the symbol and the other one is be like, no.
Yeah, I could see that.
Does that make
Definitely.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely
Pretty
see
much
that.
one's gonna be more cultic than the other.
Mhm. I yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, I think that could be why Ty and Van ultimately split up. Um, I mean, it already became an issue in the season 1 finale episode. Um,
Yep.
Ty was willing to go along with it for her sake, but I don't know that she'd be
Yeah,
willing to do that for much longer.
but there's also the issue of, is Lottie the only antler queen?
Yeah.
Is she the only one antler queen?
There's a lot of thoughts on that.
So, I mean, there's a lot of, it's all got to do with the symbol and the cultic stuff, I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. There's there's a lot of thoughts on whether or not the antler queen could be multiple people.
I think the initial was Lottie, but I think there could be others later on.
Yeah. Just going back
and this is to tie in with the cultic stuff with the symbol. I'm not just going off on a tangent. I'm just saying,
Sure. No. It all ties in. One thing that I also wanted to bring up is that the symbol, the number of lines in the symbol are also important. And one thing that I noticed, if you exclude the hook at the bottom and you just focus on the circle and the triangle and the lines going through it, there are a total of 8 lines. The circle is 1, triangle is 3, and then the lines intersecting. There is they come to a total of 8 without the hook. 8 is a big number in alchemy, but there were also 8 people shown in the Cannibal Council. So that's...
And also, when they did the seance, they said, oh, it's the number 8. Oh, no, it's an infinity symbol.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. So 8 also represents infinity.
They were like, oh, no, it's an infinity symbol. It's like, no, it's 8.
Yeah. So it's, there's a lot of interesting things to think about there. I don't know. I tried looking for other symbolism in the show involving the number 8 and nothing stood out, but it's just something interesting to think about. Especially with that seance. Another thing to consider is that with the whole transmutation circle thing, when they were preparing for the seance, Jackie had them put the candles. Jackie and Shauna were putting the candles directly on the symbol. And that could have, if there's supernatural alchemy at play here, that could have
brought more things in.
Yeah, like if the candles were placed outside of the symbol, then it might have been an uneventful seance.
Right.
But it's, we're basing this on
it all be the meaning of why the bear actually came to them and they ate the bear.
Yeah.
Because they placed you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, with alchemy, you're playing with the elements, and they could have been playing with alchemy and not knowing it.
Exactly.
So yeah,
and incorporating, covering the symbols up with the candles could have had a transmutation circle kind of effect. And of course, we're just going based on the assumption that there are supernatural forces in play here. But
right.
So that, it's God, I don't even know, honestly. Like, I change my mind every 5 minutes as to what I think as to whether or not I think it's alchemy or a map.
Same.
But Yeah, there's some good theories
Well,
out there.
then
I
you
just
go
don't think.
into what was on Adam's back. Like, was Adam
Oh,
a
yes.
part of this cult? And was the tattoo on his back a part of thing? Was look, I absolutely think that Adam was a part of the cult.
Yeah, same.
He had the
Definitely.
tattoo on his back. I think he drew Shauna in. I think that's all it was.
Yeah. There also it also looks like mountains um on his back.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
they're where they're located in the show, like the weird supernatural stuff doesn't start happening until they get to the cabin, which is by the lake.
Mhm.
And the lake is kind of like a
Right.
circle, and the mountains are kind of like triangular. It's and
Mhm.
it's
It,
all
it it
alchemy.
all ties in. Swear, I swear, I've said it from the beginning that that's what it is, and you said it. I was like, "Yep, that's
Yeah.
it."
And
I mean,
I
it has
mean,
to be.
man, and with
There's no
Laura
way it
Lee,
could
like,
be anything else, especially
yeah.
with the occult. Like, and then Lord, I'm telling you, the triangle is fire, and that's why Laura Lee combusted. I'm telling you, I'm telling you,
Mhm.
that's in my
It's
head.
very, very possible. It's very, very possible that that all ties in. So it's yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that will.
Leonard didn't just set a fire for no reason.
No, no, he did not. Um, do you think we'll get an explanation? Um, do you think we'll get some kind of some sort of insight as to what the symbol could point to in season 2? Or do you think they'll wait on
No,
that? Or yeah,
I think they're gonna wait.
I think
I
so
don't even
too.
know if we're gonna get a Shauna baby in season 2.
I
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah, I
quick
don't
they're
know how they're
gonna
gonna drag it out.
carry the storyline, especially now that
Yeah.
they've been you know they've gotten season 3, and it's a season 5 arc.
Well, there's I mean,
I don't know that we're gonna know what the symbol means until the very end. I'll be honest with you.
I I I bet you it will end up meaning absolutely nothing.
It's probably gonna be, and they're like, here, throw it to the fans and let them speculate, and it's gonna be like, nope, no answers. I mean, I followed shows before that are like that, where it's like, what happened with that? Nothing.
Yeah,
So
like it was
it
one
could.
of the writers um they said let's come up with a mysterious symbol, and one of the writers had a cup of coffee on their desk with a paper airplane sitting there and with pencils around it. They're like, "Hey, let me just doodle the shape of the mess on my desk right now."
This is the ring. This is the ring of my coffee.
Yes.
I mean, it could happen. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
lie, it could happen. But
Who knows?
honestly, I do think that they're gonna say something about the symbol. I don't think we're gonna get answers in the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Um, I
I
mean,
also think the last if they do 5 seasons, I also think part of season last half of season 4 and then season 5 is going to be all adult and how they dealt with it.
I think that's a safe
I
bet.
think they will get rescued in season either very end of season 3 or season 4 because you have to think they're going to be out there for 19 months.
Yeah.
We've only seen, let's see, when did they crash? May?
Yeah.
We've only seen 7, 8 months so far.
Um, yeah,
Like,
something like that.
just guessing. Just guessing. I know it's Canada, so
I think it's closer to like
maybe
5 or 6, maybe. Something
I'm
like
gonna
that.
say 6, 7, maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So they spend more than one winter there.
right. Um, yeah, they did move through the first season pretty quickly. But I mean, there could be for all we know, they could end up getting rescued halfway through the season 2, and the rest of the past timeline could be them dealing with like coming home in the aftermath of that. It's but I do hope that they spent a
Truth.
good amount of time in the
True.
woods because
But I
there's
don't
too
think they're
much
gonna
story.
do that. I think there's gonna be at least one more season
Oh yeah,
of them being in the wilderness.
absolutely. I think so too. Um, there's too much interesting story to
At
tell there.
least one or two. At least one or two
Yeah.
more. Um, and
Um,
seeing how they deal with it.
yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it'll be interesting if we see any more sightings of the symbol either in either timeline. Um,
Oh, we're gonna see it. I have no doubt.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean,
Look, season 1 finale, it was the necklace, right?
mhm.
Was that the last time
Yes.
we saw it? Or no, was it Lottie? No. Yeah, it
Um,
was the necklace.
yeah, it was the
Lottie was
necklace,
just
yeah.
presenting the bear heart. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I wanna go back and get another look at that. I should have thought about bringing it up for this episode, but I do wanna go back and take another look at the photo of that kinda tree altar of theirs and,
Right.
look at the
And see
shape
if
and
there's
see if
something on it
yeah, or if I mean, or just the shape of it, you
or
know?
it's in the shape of something. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be kind of interesting to see if it's really triangular with, like a hollowed out
Right.
round base. That's another
Yeah, and that heart
another kind of
is
kind of
like representative in that symbol or yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Because I mean, obviously Lottie does not have her meds. Like
right.
I'm a nurse. The first time I watched Yellowjackets, I noticed in that first sequence before they get on the plane, whoever hands those pills to Lottie to take, loxapine,
Mhm.
what do? I look it up.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
for
yeah, I did too.
schizophrenia. And it was not spelled the same way in the show, but still. And then I'm like, okay, this is gonna present some issues later on in this series, I feel, because I knew they crashed.
Yeah.
And then I never understood why Anna never said anything to her when she saw her taking them out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
That's a whole episode.
Yeah. And
But
the other thing is it's in Lottie's situation, um, there I don't think that they would just chalk it up to her schizophrenia. She could be
oh
just
no, and I don't know that it's just schizophrenia. I think
yeah.
she might have been a part of the cult
Yeah.
through her parents
Through her parents.
prior to,
Yeah.
and it's just yep.
Yeah. You did bring up
I
that you thought,
look, this goes back further than this goes back further than just Lottie and the Yellow Jackets crashing.
Yeah, that's definitely a good possibility for sure. um, well,
I
yeah,
mean,
I think God, I think we've covered the symbol pretty well. Did you have any other thoughts on
I
what it could
think
be?
so.
Yeah.
No, I
Um,
I think we've pretty much talked
taking
about
care of it.
everything.
Um, if you have any, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you have any if you whether you're listening to this or watching it, if you have any thoughts of your own that we haven't touched on, please leave a comment below and let me know what you're kind of going along with. If you have any further information that you can touch on regarding things that we talked about, please abuse the hell out of that comment section, because I have a feeling that people that some of you listening and watching have a lot to say on this. and
Probably.
and yeah, I it's funny because man, I feel like I'm thinking about all the rabbit holes I went down, and now I'm feeling like I'm gonna be responsible for for the followers going down a million rabbit holes. If that's the case, I am so sorry, guys. I apologize
I
profusely.
mean,
Please don't
there's
call in
worse
sick
rabbit
for
holes you could go down, though. There's
yeah.
worse rabbit holes. So it's
There's a
okay,
lot.
Kelly.
But yeah, absolutely. If you know any more about alchemy, please, yeah, just comment in the notes. Also, please consider leaving a review on iTunes. I would appreciate it so much. I actually, the we lost all of the podcast reviews, so that was kind of a bummer. But thank you to everybody who's left a review so far. And um, if you could leave one, that would be wonderful. I would appreciate it so much. Also, there's I've got a new URL for the site. It's the antlerqueenspodcast.com. So it's just the only change is podcast got added at the end. And of course, you can find the show on social media at the Antler Queens. Um, and of course, check out our merch on our site. And we're going to be having that's still there's a lot of stuff changing right now, and it's a little overwhelming. I've been extremely busy. So I apologize for being a little behind on episodes right now at the moment, and getting our new merch vendor up and running, but that'll be coming soon as well. And I just want to thank everybody, including yourself, Jade, um, for the awesome support so far. And to
Of
Courtney,
course.
our honorary Antler Queen, and all of our patrons. I appreciate the support so much. It's been a really rough and confusing month, and it's hopefully I'll have a new co-host in here, sooner rather than later, to help me deal with some of the workload. But in the meantime, I mean, I'm just really excited to bring on a whole bunch of people. It's There's going to be some familiar faces and names from our little community. There's going to be some names and faces that might be familiar outside the community. So there's lots of cool things coming up. Live after show. I'm really looking forward to that. Antler Queens After Dark. So yeah, there's a
Yay!
lot going on. And yeah, so Jade, you were officially my first guest co-host. So congrats.
Woo!
And yeah, and like I
I
said, of
hope I did
course,
okay. Like I said, I'm not a professional podcaster. I just
oh,
came
you
on
were
here and
great.
rambled.
You were great. That's exactly what we need.
Okay. Yeah.
But Yeah. So I think I'd of course love to have you back for another episode in the near future. But
Yeah,
just thank you for all of your support in general so far of the show
of
and
course.
yeah, and yeah, I'm glad to know you. um and I guess
Same. Samesies.
I guess did you have anything else you wanted to add, Jade?
Just
Nope.
thank you for letting me come on and like converse and talk. Like I said, I'm not
Absolutely.
professional. I don't do this all the time. So yeah, I probably got tripped up
No, no,
vocally
no.
and it's kind of nerve wracking. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you for letting me do this. I mean, I loved
yeah,
it. This is great. Like
absolutely.
I
Good. I'm
would so
glad. I'm
come
glad
back
you had
on.
a
But I mean, if you wanted me, but like yeah.
yeah. No, it was a great
So
time. I'm
yeah,
glad you were
thanks.
able to join me.
No, all the support.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Um, and I guess so. Yeah, I guess we will skedaddle on out of here. I got a couple of episodes coming up, like that I'm going to be recording within the next week. So they're already building up. So I'm kind of excited. It's going to be a busy year. If you are interested in guest
Buzz.
co-hosting with me or joining a fan panel, please let me know. You can leave me a comment, message me on social media, or email antlerqueenspodcast@gmail.com. And I wish you all peace, love, and Yellowjackets. And with that, I'm going to say buzz off. And Jade, why don't you
Buzz
give us a
off,
buzz
Kelly.
off? All right. Bye, guys.